Well, children, as the world of film is a world of wonder, laughter, and tears, now let's pass on to a new lesson in Unit 2, that is Project Tiger by Satyajit Ray. No doubt, the world of film has always been a world of wonders, tears, and laughter. Satyajit Ray, the noted Indian filmmaker, begins his articles in his memoir, Project Tiger, by paying due respect to the Hollywood filmmakers, for they give consideration and respect to animal actors as well. Ray says nobody can defeat Hollywood in the case of shooting films using animals and birds. Satyajit Ray shares with us some amazing experiences he had at the Disney studio in Hollywood. To his perfect amazement, he could witness the starring of an Alsatian dog and a dwarf acting as the dupe of the dog wearing dog skin. In this lesson, Project Tiger, Satyajit Ray remembers his experience and efforts for shooting a film titled goopy, gyne, bhaga, byne, using a tiger as the protagonist or hero. In the film, Goopy was exiled by the king to a forest. He was wandering in the forest and he comes across a bhaga also. He was also exiled. They were terrified to see a tiger, and the tiger was leisurely moving without paying any attention to them. For shooting such a film, Ray needed a tiger as a character. It was very difficult to get a trained animal in India for shooting. So, he decided to contact with the Bharat Circus company to get a tiger. At that time, Bharat Circus was giving shows in the Market Square in Calcutta. Ray and his crew made up their mind to meet the circus manager and discuss the purpose of their visit. After a prolonged discussion, the manager agreed to lend the tiger. He arranged Mr. Torres, the ringmaster, to take the tiger in a lorry to the shooting location. The ringmaster had never let the tiger out of the cage freely on its own. It was a real challenge for him. After 2 day-long travel, the lorry reached the bamboo grove of the shooting place at Nottingham village with 2 well-fed tigers. A few villagers took permission to watch the shooting. In the show, the tiger had to come out of the bamboo grove into the open space, walk gently for a while, look at the camera if possible, and go back. The crew placed the camera-mounted tripod facing the bamboo grove. The actors, Goopy and Bhaga, were ready within the yards of camera. A 5-foot iron rod was fixed on the ground, and a thin long wire was fixed to the tiger's collar, and its other end was tied to the rod fixed on the ground. As the door of the cage was opened, the tiger responded quickly. It jumped out and walked around. The ringmaster, Mr. Torres, tried to control the tiger but failed. At last, when the tiger calmed down, a few shots were taken, but they were not all right as the camera didn't work well. As the first attempt failed, Satyajit Ray and his team found another bamboo grove near Boral village in Calcutta to reshoot it. The lorry arrived with the tiger once more. There were so many villagers to watch the film shooting. In spite of the request of the cameraman, the crowd was not ready to move from their position. When the door of the cage was opened, the tiger emerged with a loud roar and moved towards the villagers. All of them disappeared frantically from the scene. But the tiger soon calmed down. The shooting was completely successful to the perfect satisfaction of Satyajit Ray and his team for their year-long endeavor found success.
Well children, let us see how to attempt some comprehension questions from the article Project Tiger by Satyajit Ray.
No one can beat Hollywood when it comes to making films with animal in them. I remember films in my childhood, and there were quite a few of them that had an Alsatian called Rin Tin Tin. This dog's acting was more impressive than a human's. Later, we got to see 3 or 4 films with a collie called Lassie. It seemed that the director could make Lassie do just about anything. These trained dogs were famous stars in their own rights, and the money they earned was no less than what a real film star got. Their owner could easily make as much as 100,000 rupees from just one film. Now let's see the questions. Why does Rai still remember Rin Tin Tin? How does Hollywood stand first in filmmaking? Why does Rai say the trained dogs were famous stars? What was special about the trained dog Lassie? 5th one, locate the word which means attractive. Now let's see the answers. First question, its acting was more impressive than a human's. Second one, no one could beat Hollywood in making films with animals. Third one, the money they earned was no less than what a real star got. And the fourth one, the director could make Lassie do just about anything. And the fifth question's answer is the word impressive.
Well children, let's move on to another passage for comprehension.
Passage 2. Having thought of the scene, I simply had to shoot it. But where were we going to find a tiger? That obvious thing to do was to look in a circus, since they were likely to have trained animals. As a matter of fact, Bharat Circus was visiting Calcutta at the time, holding shows in Market Square. We sent someone to make an appointment with its Tamil manager and then went to meet him one morning. He greeted us warmly and ordered South Indian coffee for us. The manager heard the reason for our visit, then sent for one Mr. Thoret. He turned out to be a ringmaster. He too was a South Indian, very well built, with features somewhat like those of a Nepali. He was perhaps no more than 40. He showed us an old scar on his forearm which had been caused by a tiger. Now let's see the questions. Why did Rai visit the Bharat Circus? Where was Bharat Circus holding show? Who turned out to be the ringmaster? How did the circus manager greet Rai? Fifth question is locate word which means clear. Now we have the answers. First one, to get a trained tiger for shooting a film. Second question, in Market Square. Third one, Mr. Thoret. And the fourth one, the manager greeted Rai warmly and offered South Indian coffee. And the fifth question, the word with the meaning clear is obvious. Passage number 3. The cameraman shouted to everyone to take their position, but the dog remained where it was. This puzzled me. Could it be that it was not required in the next shot? Before I could ask someone, a strange thing happened. From nowhere appeared a little dwarf, followed by another man carrying a hairy dog skin. Then, to my perfect amazement, the dwarf went down on all fours on a chalk mark on the floor, just like an animal, and the dog skin was draped over him. Then he crawled from one mark to another, and the cameraman got busy with the lights. It finally dawned upon me that this dwarf was paid to be the dog's stand-in. Now let's do the questions. What did the cameraman shout everyone to do? And the answer is, the cameraman shouted everyone to take position. Second question, what strange thing happened before the speaker asked something to someone? A dwarf appeared followed by a man. Third question, what was the role of the dwarf in the film shooting? The dwarf played the role of a stand-in or dupe. And the fourth question, what was the following the dwarf carrying? And the answer is, the man following the dwarf was carrying a hairy dog skin. And the fifth one, locate the word which means wonder, and the word is amazement.
Ma'am, please discuss some reported speech questions from this lesson.
Now let us see how to report some dialogues, that is, to change into reported speech.
Here is a question to change into reported speech. Satyajit Ray, where is the tiger? Mr. Thorat, the tiger is in the cage. What did Satyajit Ray ask? How did Mr. Thorat reply? This question is for writing into reported speech, and the answer goes like this. Satyajit Ray asked Mr. Thorat where the tiger was, and Mr. Thorat replied that the tiger was in the cage. Let's do another one. Satyajit Ray, will you send the tiger to the shooting location? Manager, I will send it to the shooting location. Now you have to report this. And the answer is, Satyajit Ray asked the manager if he would send the tiger to the shooting location, and the manager replied that he would send it to the shooting location. Here we have to remember the thing that when we are reporting a yes or no question, we have to use if or whether as in this previous example. Next one, Satyajit Ray, why did you bring 2 tigers instead of 1? Mr. Thorat, in case one doesn't work, we can use the another one. The answer is, Satyajit Ray asked Mr. Thorat why he had brought 2 tigers instead of 1. Mr. Thorat replied that in case one didn't work, they could use another one.
Excuse me, sir. What is the pronunciation of the word memoir and the meaning of the word stand-in?
Well, the pronunciation of words ending in OIR is wa. So, the pronunciation of MEMOIR is memoir. I repeat, memoir, not a memoir or memoir. See some other wrongly pronounced words in English: reservoir, boudoir, abattoir, repertoire. They are correctly pronounced as reservoir, boudoir, abattoir, repertoire, and so on. And next question, what's the meaning of the word stand in? Stand in means a dupe. Normally, dupes are used in films in place of certain heroes in doing certain very, very dangerous activities or actions.